Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We have more big severe storms possible today, all the way through this weekend, with very large hail, intense winds, and more tornadoes possible. And then a warming trend appears likely into early May, especially across the Great Plains. How warm will temperatures get? And then we'll also have an active long range weather pattern with more classic severe weather setups again across the Great Plains. And will the severe weather spread northward? We'll get to those details later on in today's video. But going back to yesterday, we saw a lot of big hail producers, especially back here into central Texas, where they measured a 4-inch diameter hailstone across portions just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That is up to grapefruit size, folks. And we actually did also see some hailers up across southern Georgia into Florida as well. In fact, we had 67 hail reports, with 15 of those being over 2 inches in diameter. We had 22 wind reports for a total of 89 severe weather reports going back to yesterday. So definitely a busy day. But as we go through today, another busy day is on tap. We have 3 areas we're watching in particular for enhanced severe weather potential. We do have a slight risk down here into southern portions of Texas, and then we also have that slight risk across southern portions of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, getting into southern Georgia and northwestern Florida, and then the eastern side of Florida from Jacksonville down toward the Fort Lauderdale area does have that slight risk for later on today. In fact, looking at the large hail probability, we have a smaller area up here into the Little Rock and Memphis area we're watching for potentially some quarter-size hail, but the more formidable hailstones, again, could be across southern Texas toward the Brownsville area, Rio Grande Valley, and then again across eastern Florida. Those areas could be seeing up to around 2 inches in diameter hailstones later on today. And in fact, a formidable tornado risk does appear possible down here into New Orleans, Hattiesburg, getting into Mobile, and then over into the Panama City, Florida area as well, going through later on today and into this evening. So if you guys like detailed weather breakdowns over North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel down below. And it's also very important to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get all of this weather information out to as many people as possible, so I definitely appreciate it. But looking at the timing of the storms late this morning, this is at 10 o'clock here this morning, and we have the scattered activity of storms. Not everybody will see these, but if you get under one of these stronger cells, they could be producing some hail and some gusty winds as they move across portions of Alabama, southern Mississippi, into southern Louisiana here. This will organize more into a squall line, or at least a broken line of storms through mid-afternoon. This is 3 o'clock this afternoon across central and southern Georgia, with the strongest part of the line down here into southeastern Alabama and northwestern Florida, again approaching the Panama City area. That'll push through as a squall line through this evening, and again, this will be weakening going through late evening into the overnight hours as the instability starts to wane with sunset. But we'll be watching for more hailers producing some quarter-size hail back here toward Birmingham, Tuscaloosa area, and getting back in toward Jackson, Mississippi after midnight and going into your Friday morning. But then speaking of Friday, we got another formidable severe weather risk across portions of the Texas Hill Country and on up into North Texas, as we have a warm front draped across the area here, and that will provide another enhanced risk for severe storms on Friday tomorrow across the DFW Metroplex down towards Waco, Texas here. And then that slight risk extends down towards San Antonio and into the Rio Grande Valley. We also have a marginal risk here to the east across the Carolinas, southeastern Georgia, into Florida, especially, again, the east coast of Florida going through your Friday. And again, this enhanced risk and slight risk back into the Texas Hill Country, North Texas, will be for very large hail. Again, we have a 15 to 30% hatched area for hail over 2 inches in diameter. And again, another setup where we could see up to 4-inch diameter hail again across this region, and another formidable tornado risk with a 5% shading centered right over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex down toward the Waco region through your Friday afternoon and evening. So looking at the severe weather setup, dew points will again be rising into the middle 50s to low 60s out here. We have a little bit of a dry line trying to set up here to the west, and we have a little bit of lift along that warm front as well for some strong instability to develop. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And also looking at the lapse rate, we like to look at this especially with these large hail producing type systems, and it does look like a very strong rate of change in our temperatures as we go up in the atmosphere. It cools rapidly, so those big monstrous hailstones will be likely through the day on Friday again. So let's time this out. This is noon time frame. Our main piece of energy up here is across portions of southern Kansas, western Oklahoma, and toward the Amarillo area into the Texas Panhandle by midday on Friday. As this starts to move southeast, we're going to have that interact with the stronger instability, the shear down here, and boom, we get big, intense, severe storms down here just west of the Fort Worth area. These will be big hailers, make no mistake about it. 2, 3, even 4-inch diameter hail will be possible with these by mid to late afternoon on Friday. This will grow upscale into a broken line of supercells, producing some tornadoes possible, very large, if not giant hail, and then also some damaging winds over 60 miles per hour through the early evening, and then this will start to fall apart before it really gets to western Arkansas or western Louisiana. So we'll continue to watch this going through the day on Friday, but these storms will be producing some heavy rainfall. So not everybody will see the big storms, but if you do get under one of those stronger cells, we could be seeing some rainfall amounts over 2 inches here, especially near the Dallas-Fort Worth area on up toward the Red River, and then another batch down here toward the San Antonio and Waco region. We'll have to watch Friday and into Saturday. That could be causing some flash flooding. We have a marginal risk of flash flooding across the Red River here into southern portions of Oklahoma, down through the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Tyler, Texas, getting down into San Antonio and near Houston, and also the Corpus Christi area. So much of central and east Texas will be under the threat for flash flooding again going into Friday and Saturday. But speaking of Saturday, the system begins to move again across portions of the Gulf Coast, and then that will also be producing some severe weather across portions of New Orleans, getting in there toward the Hattiesburg region, southern and central portions of Alabama, southwestern Georgia into northwest Florida again on Saturday, with mainly damaging winds and large hail with the Saturday setup. I'm not too concerned about tornadoes on that day, but as we go into Sunday, this just turns into a windbag with lots of heavy rain across the eastern 2/3 of the country, all up and down the East Coast from Maine to Florida. So definitely unsettled times getting in through late this weekend. So let's time this out a little bit. Late afternoon on Saturday, we have the stronger storms in that marginal risk area down here across the immediate Gulf Coast. Again, damaging winds and large hail will be the main modes of severe weather. However, an isolated tornado will be possible. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if this got upgraded to a slight risk, but then as these storms lift north and east slowly, these could be producing some very heavy rain. So this will turn more to a heavy rainfall threat overnight Saturday into Sunday after the midnight time frame. And then going in through Sunday morning, lots of heavy rain across Florida into Georgia, and then back across portions of Mississippi and Alabama. But then on up here into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, besides a couple of showers here and there, pretty dry through your Sunday morning until we get to later on Sunday toward the evening time frame. We'll start to fill in with some rainfall across the mid-Atlantic here, and very interesting setup. So let's look at the vorticity signature. This is your mid-level vorticity Sunday afternoon. We got a deepening trough up here across the western and central Great Lakes. That's going to meet up with this energy as it pushes to the north and east across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And as it does so, it's going to kind of ingest this energy into the main trough by Monday afternoon to create one big low pressure system. And that will be spiraling up into the northeast as a 982 millibar low by Monday morning. So if you're waking up for work or school on Monday across the mid-Atlantic or northeast, it will be a soggy go of it with some thunderstorms, some heavy rainfall, maybe even some smaller hail as well to go along with it. And that will continue through Monday evening as it deepens to a 975 millibar low up here into Ontario, Canada, as we have the backwash moisture across the northern Great Lakes through the Monday evening time frame and even into your Tuesday morning as you're waking up for work or school up here into the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, lower Michigan, and all across portions of southeastern Canada. So definitely watch out for that. But with this system, as it starts to deepen and move slowly across the Northeast and the Great Lakes, it will be dropping some heavy rainfall, not only for the United States, but also into southeastern Canada. Ontario on up into Quebec could be seeing a couple inches of rain now through your Tuesday, May 2nd time frame. And kind of breaking this down region by region, places like North Florida, southern Georgia, we could be seeing 3 to 6 inches of rain just going through now through early next week on Tuesday, May 2nd. Moving up the East Coast, the Carolinas, getting into Virginia here, up there toward the Maryland region, New Jersey, eastern portions of Pennsylvania, a good 2 to 4 inches of rain for you. And then on up the I-95 corridor from New York City, Long Island, up through Boston and into coastal Maine. Again, another 1 to 3, if not 4 inches of rain for you localized going through that Tuesday, May 2nd time frame. So definitely watch out for some flooding concerns there. But during that Tuesday time frame early next week, we're going to have an interesting pattern here. So we have more of a blocking pattern setting up where we have a trough developing on either side of this ridge that is across the middle of the country here. So we got a trough out here to the west across California, and then another trough with that storm system we were mentioning across the Northeast on Tuesday, and really into Wednesday that continues and Thursday. So this really doesn't go anywhere with this pattern too much besides the ridge slowly persisting across portions of the Great Plains in towards late next week. So what does this mean from a temperatures perspective? Well, early next week will again be cool across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. Temperatures will be struggling to reach the 50s across many of these areas on Tuesday. But as we go into Wednesday, with that ridge beginning to move farther east, temperatures will be back into the middle 60s to near 70 across much of the high plains. And again, farther north as well into southwestern Canada, into portions of Saskatchewan and Alberta, Canada, getting into the middle 70s on Wednesday, and then even warmer times late next week on Thursday, May 4th, with some 80s showing up from Nebraska down through Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas, again with 70s spreading up toward the Chicagoland area, 60s up here toward the Twin Cities, and maybe some cooler times farther north and east. As that trough hangs on across southeastern Canada, those temperatures will be down into the 30s and 40s across Ontario and Quebec, Canada, going through late next week. And again, beyond that pattern, beyond that time frame, we are continuing to see that pattern persist through the second week into May with troughs on either side of the country with the ridge in between. And it looks like the active weather pattern with the precipitation will mainly be across the western two-thirds of the country and across the southern plains and the southeast, with drier times across the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley from Thursday, May 4th through Wednesday, May 10th here. And just looking at this with a severe weather perspective, again, we always have to look at the severe weather chances going in towards May, because May can always be a big month for severe storms. So look at the dew point temperatures here with some of the long-range guidance going into that Tuesday, May 9th time frame, and it does look like into the second week in May, the higher dew points will be across the southern United States again and across the Texas Hill Country, getting in toward the Arklatex with the higher instability down here, and then the instability and dew points start to creep northward a little bit toward that Mother's Day weekend there toward the middle of May, with dew points back into the 60s, perhaps as far north as Nebraska and Iowa here. And that's where we're going to start to build some of this instability farther north into the Central Plains and perhaps the lower Midwest, getting toward that Mother's Day weekend. So with that in mind, my severe weather forecast from May 8th through the 15th, right straight through Mother's Day weekend, I do think it's possible we see some severe weather across the high plains here, across southern Nebraska through eastern Colorado, Kansas, getting into Oklahoma and north and northwest Texas here as well, including Dallas-Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Wichita, and then on up toward Lincoln, Nebraska during the second week into May. Well, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter at hweather420, it's down in the description below for additional weather forecast updates. I definitely appreciate it. But thank you guys so much for watching each and every morning. It is much appreciated as well. Be sure to like the video down below, give me a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great and safe Thursday, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.